This is episode 15. I'm Mark Denny. I love movies and I'm all about the movie going experience. So much so I created a show called The Weekly Reference as well as The Movie Reference just so I had a place to geek out for a little bit. If you found this on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, I really appreciate you stopping by to check this out. On this week's episode, it's all about The Long Walk. I got to see it. Man, that's all I want to talk about. Let's just get into it. So, The Long Walk. This is a Stephen King adaptation directed by Francis Lawrence, and it just came out on the 12th of September. I got to see it today being the 18th, so I'm a little off by 6 days, but I went to go see this movie, and oh man, I haven't stopped thinking about it, to be honest with you. I thought it was quite remarkable. I'm not familiar with the book. I know there's a book. There's always a book. I feel like there's always a book, and I'm not much of a reader. I'm a moviegoer. That's where I like to. That's my favorite medium. That's how I am exposed to a lot of these different stories, and so a lot of times when I make a reference to say like The Hunger Games, it's to the movie itself, right? And you will not be mistaken if you go into this movie, you initially kind of feel like it has the Hunger Games feel to it. I'm not sure who wrote which novel at what time or what. I'm not familiar with that stuff. But it did have the Hunger Games feel of this lottery, this walk, this in particular they show all these people who are, I guess they would be called contestants. They're really, they're teenagers who found their way to apply to this long walk, and they all have their various reasons to do so. And it's not one of those where they come and pick you up at the reaping, right? That's what it was called, the reaping. Or you didn't have a dramatic moment of I volunteer as tribute. No, these guys volunteered knowing the consequences of doing this long walk, and of course it differs from the Hunger Games in terms of they're not trying to kill one another, which I thought was interesting. I thought at one point somebody might trip somebody, but so the synopsis is a group of teenage boys compete in an annual contest known as the Long Walk, in which they must maintain a certain walking speed or get their ticket punched, is what they say in the movie. And man, it's intense. It is quite an intense film. I didn't know what to expect initially. I think I seen like maybe one or two trailers and little promotions here and there on social media, and that's kind of what got my attention. And I think I heard one or two of my favorite critics kind of go, yeah, this is a really well-made movie. And then of course I think the buzz, it's positive right now in terms of Rotten Tomatoes, and the critic score I think is in the 90s somewhere. I haven't checked it in a little bit, but I think it was in the 90s, and so I was intrigued. It's definitely not something that I would normally go see, like initial thoughts, right? Like initially I was like, okay, The Long Walk, interesting. I don't know if I'll see this. You know what I mean? At face value, it's not like something that would like grab my attention and be like, oh, I need to go see that movie, like a Superman or Sinners, right? But I had a feeling about this movie, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go check this one out, and it is so worth their time and energy. I got so invested in these teenagers, and I guess this is a thing about like Stephen King, and at least the adaptations. It feels like the work is strong enough to the point where when they do a good adaptation, you can give credit to the author, right? Like Stephen King. Like these authors, these characters are so well thought out, and even if they seem stereotypical at first, in some cases they are, right? You're like, this little, I hope you. But then there's a little bit more depth revealed as you continue with the story. And I've had my experiences with Stephen King adaptations, like the It Chapter 1, Chapter 2. Chapter 1 in particular was one that blew my mind. And, I've already expressed I'm not that big into horror, but that movie was just so well done, and how they brought the characters to life. It just I'm just saying, it's just like, it feels like another pat on the back to the author. It's so good that when they adapted it, they're like, we got to keep this stuff intact, right? And obviously this is a character story. It's not really about the villain. Like, the villain's there, the ominous dark presence, the shadow, the military stuff is there. You know that there's villains behind the shoulders of these characters, and you know they're around still, and that adds to the intensity of it all. But it's not about the villain per se. It's about these characters, right? What's their driving force? What's making them want to do this? And Cooper Hoffman, this Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, he's so talented. He was so great as Raymond Garrity. Like, I was locked in from the moment he got on screen with, what's her name? I don't want to give away too much, but Judy Greer, she's in this movie as well. She plays his mom. That beginning was just so well done, and that's what I loved, is like, they give you a hook right away. They hook you into this movie in the first 20 minutes, and you get a little bit, okay, when you get to the first 20 minutes and they finally show, the movie is called The Long Walk, you do kind of take a step back a little bit and like, okay, did I see everything that I'm going to see throughout the rest of the movie? Like, is it going to be a rinse and repeat, every 30 minutes of what happens in the first 20 minutes? And they do so well in keeping you on your toes and not really, like I said, I'm going into this as just a movie fan. Like, I have no preconceived notion of who's going to get it, who's going to make it, who's not. None of that information, and none of this movie was spoiled for me. So I went into this not knowing anything. So I was just sitting there going, oh man, that person, or that, just sitting there, that guessing game of who's going to slow down, who's not going to, and just, yeah, so good. And Cooper Hoffman, like I said, Cooper Hoffman and Judy Greer, they set up the relationship beautifully, because, they don't have a lot of screen time together, but the time that they do have together, it's like, wow, it creates some really magical, dramatic moments. One moment in particular that just, and let me tell you, this movie made me it made me water. Like, my eyes got watery 4 different times. 4 different times I was sitting there and I was like, don't you cry, but I can feel the tears were just forming. And then, like, the 4th time I finally was like, okay, I gotta let one go. And it was like Denzel tear just coming down, because I just was so invested in it. David Johnson, who plays Peter McVries, number 23. Amazing. I don't know who this kid is. All I know is that people did praise him in terms of, like, the review of this movie, and they said, if you want to see his stand-up performance, that you need to go check out Alien Romulus, right? That's what they kept saying. I have yet to see that movie, but man, seeing him in this movie makes me want to go check out Alien Romulus and to see what people are talking about in terms of him being such a standout. And I think the rest of the cast is really flushed out really well. They cast so well for all these different characters. Like, it was like a perfect match. There was only one character that was supposed to be a tough guy, and for me, I didn't buy him being tough. It's like, kind of like if you asked me, hey Mark, can you be a tough guy in my movie? And I'm like, so what do you want? What do you like? It's not believable. It's like there's so many people I can talk about in terms of in my life that I just watch, and like when they get in that, when they try to be tough, it doesn't work. But he's such a minor role that it wasn't like a distracting thing. It was just like, I just knew he was a standout in terms of, he was a little bit like, okay, you're playing tough too much. Like, I don't know if that was the right casting, but everybody else I felt like was spot on. Mark Hamill as the Major, gosh, what a great villainous role for him. And he just, he's not in it much, but he chews up the scenes when he's in it. And he looks really cool throughout the movie. And yeah, man, the score. Who was? Sorry, I'm gonna pull it up because I don't. Yeah, I don't care. Jeremiah Frades. I never heard of your name before. I've never heard a score from you before. I don't know if this is your first one. Amazing, such great like build up and the feeling, the tone of the film, and there's some moments that the score hits just at the right moment when you need it to, and regarding the characters, and that probably added to it. Like not just the fact that I was invested in their journey and trying to see who was going to make it to the end, but also the score really helped in a lot of moments of like, oh man, which is what you want a score to do. You don't want it to stand out on its own. You want it to complement the movie, and they did such a great job with the score and the film. The film looks beautiful, by the way. The cinematography, the day and night scenes. You know what I loved about the night scenes in this movie is that they weren't like complete darkness. You know, sometimes you see night scenes in movies, you're like, oh man, I can't see anything. What was the thought behind this? Because they want to show you muzzle flashes and stuff like that. They found creative ways to light these scenes and these sequences. And because you're there on the journey, man, you're there for the walk. It's a long walk, and it's worth it. Like it's worth the $20 to spend on it. It's worth dude, I can't stop thinking about the characters. And Francis Lawrence, I'm gonna click on him real quick. He, if I'm not mistaken, because I didn't look him up before this, and I apologize. Yeah. Constantine. I love Constantine with Keanu Reeves. That movie's awesome. That movie's awesome. And then he did the Hunger Games, and look at that. The 3 Hunger Games movies. Catching Fire in particular is one of my favorites in that franchise, but he also did Mockingjay Part 1, Part 2. So to have his voice in this, in something a little bit familiar territory, but you know, it's also a little bit different. It's R-rated, so he's able to push the boundaries a little bit more. Some grotesque deaths and injuries and things like that are shown throughout the movie. It's a little bit grisly in that sense. It is, but all you care about is the characters. That's what you care about. That's what you're gonna go see this movie for, is seeing their chemistry, seeing how they interact, seeing how they progress, how they evolve from the beginning of like, okay, this is what they all have the common goal of get the money, right? Walk the longest. And then apparently there's a wish that they can get as well. And it will, whatever it is, it will be granted apparently. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. I'm going to gush about this movie for probably the rest of the year. When I left the theater, I just felt that, like, it was like one of those things where you're just like, oh man, I feel this. Like I can feel it in here still. And like enough for me to get on the phone with my sister and be like, hey, I need to tell you about this movie. If you don't plan on seeing it, you need to plan on seeing it. And so, yeah, man, like it was, I guess it was a pleasant surprise for me. Like it was just one of those things. It was just like, I didn't really plan on seeing it. It started popping up on my radar a little bit, and I said, you know what, I want to give it a chance. And boom, I went to go see it, and I was blown away. I'm not gonna lie, I'm blown away. It is probably one of my favorite movies of the year. And that the cast, I can't say anything more about the cast, man. It's so great. The director, the score, the I don't know, man. Where did they film all this? Like, where did they? There's some awesome, amazing shots, landscape shots, and and it's just walking. Like, how do you make walking interesting? And they found different ways to do it. Put the cameras in different places, and even with the characters walking, it's never distracting. Like, and that's why I kept looking at while I was watching the movie. It's like, I thought the walking would be distracting, but it's like I'm in it. Like, even though I'm not walking with them and I'm not on a treadmill or whatever, I'm in it. I'm invested. I want to be in this moment. And yeah, man, I don't know what else to say, but it's definitely something that I'm going to talk about for the rest of the year. I'm going to listen to that score like crazy. If they put out a steelbook, or even if they put out a 4K, I don't care. I'm going to buy it physically is what I'm trying to say. I'm going to buy a physical copy. That's how good I thought the Long Walk was. If you're even remotely interested in it and you're looking for a movie where, I'm a sucker for buddy type movies, friendship type films, and so if you're wanting to invest in that type of character development, and you're willing to watch characters go from seeing how they evolve from beginning to end, and want to be there for the characters, that this movie is something that you really need to check out. Like, yeah. So that's it for this week. Appreciate you guys for checking it out. Please let me know if you've seen The Long Walk. Let me know in the comment section. That'd be awesome. Or you could just say hi. And that's it for this week, guys. Until next week.